Hello friends and neighbors. Today I'm taking a little unplanned walk. There's North Central, looking west, past the depot. I figured I would, that's Depot Plaza, take a walk on the south side here. I might not talk as much because I don't have my good microphone and the wind might make it difficult. So, that's okay. Just block the crosswalk. I'm feeling salty today. There's the post office. 636 South Fulton. Cash for your Warhol. Because lots of Hapevillians have a Warhol in their house, I guess. This house up on the left, it's been called the Cypress for the past few years. It's for sale now. Directly across from what is now the Goat Farm, an arts studio place in the old Methodist church. There it is. The Cypress, and then here is Tim and Al's house and their business, 2000 AD, the florist. I mean, look how beautiful that is. And the Methodist church. Look at this huge tree trunk. There's 3548 South Fulton Avenue. I figured I would walk down here because I drove by on Union Avenue the other day. And in past videos, I've shown you the construction over here on things. And there were 3 or 4 houses down at Union and College area that had somehow survived, and everything's being developed up around it. But as I passed by the other day, I noticed that I think all of those houses have a for sale sign in front of them. A little playground here. I bet that most people have no idea that the original church used to sit right here. The original stone church. But here's Towns at Asbury still being constructed. It's an extension of that, Towns of Asbury over there. It's quiet today. Beautiful. Surprised developers haven't gotten the parking lot here, I think, that's owned by this church, by the Baptist church, because the congregation is so small now that you never see many cars in this parking lot. Or maybe I just never have. But they got that land where those 4 little houses were. Surprised the church hasn't sold all this land. It's sure developers have tried to get it, I'm sure. I mean, it's just prime property right here in Hapeville now. All of that. There's got to be conversations going on. Developers trying to get it. The old College Street School again. I don't think I'd mind having a condo in there. It looks, I knew somebody that had one a few years ago, so I got to see theirs. It was pretty cool to know that you live in a former classroom. That's kind of neat. Any of you go to that school? It was either that one or North Avenue, right? Or then in later years, Joe Wells. It's incredible that this tiny town had 3 elementary schools at one point. So we're coming up to Union Avenue. And actually, you would normally continue down to Elm Street, but construction is happening all here and all down Elm Street, so you can't really get in there. It's blocked off, it's closed. All of that. I'll walk over and show you, because I think the last time I showed you was a couple months ago. They've just moved more dirt around, but let's see. The light is right, so might as well. And that's Central Avenue back there that you can see. Domino's, Subway, Elm Street is right down there. Got a picture from the 50s that shows this street during school, and there were a lot of bicycles out here. Long time ago, you know. Imagine all the kids coming out after the bell rings, tumbling down these stairs. So down here are the houses that I have showed you before. With all the development, I mean, you can see straight through now to the airport. There, a plane just landed, you could see it. All the homes that were along here, I documented them over the last couple of years. 3624 is the only one now without a for sale sign on it. But you'll see as we go around the corner, these random ones that survived for a minute are now for sale. But there was a big house here, a little store here. Well, it was a former store, but now it's gonna be all townhomes just like those right behind the school. So now you got a clear back view of the school. I always wonder what that was. It looks like, was that a cafeteria, a gym? Locker rooms? I'd like to go in and see it. Here we go. This house is for sale. You can see it's just all by itself right here, next to all this construction on Union, right here at the curve. There used to be a big grocery store here, bigger grocery store here, from what I understand. But this is 3630. It'll be gone soon. Wow. That little house survived for a long time. It survived the airport expansion of the 60s. And there is a cute little lantern on that porch right there that I wish I could go up and grab. Oh my God, that's lovely. Oh. Sheesh. This looks the same as what we just saw at Asbury Park. It's definitely the same developers that are developing this whole area. So they'll probably say Asbury Park Phase 2 or who knows. This is looking over across to Chestnut, and along there is Georgia. Chestnut and Georgia. Yep, see that sign over there? It says Asbury Park. All of it, this whole area now, as a matter of fact, this whole south side that used to be, you know, a neighborhood is now Asbury Park. I hope this tree survives, but I'm sure its days are numbered. Okay, so now these last two over here. Oh, this one doesn't have a for sale in front of it. I swear it did. 3656. Look, it's sitting here in the middle of all this. But this one's for sale. We're at Union and Chestnut. There goes a car off onto Chestnut. This is 3653. I've covered this area so much just because it's just gonna change so quickly. But I love this little house. So now you just don't know, you know, when these houses over here are for sale, does it mean they're gonna be gone? Odds are, yes. And it's one of my favorites that I've showcased before. I'll just walk down. Yeah, this is for sale on the corner, and so is the next lot down there. So those will be gone too. So there's really going to be, I mean, unless somebody buys this and actually saves it, which would be nice to just have some example of the former homes left here, but who can know? I've said this before, but every time I walk by here, this is a clinic at 3694. But there was a popular Hapeville school teacher named, give me a second, I always forget the family name. You guys would know her. She taught home ec. Hammett. The Hammett family home was here 100 years ago. Mary Lucy Hammett, that was where she was a little girl. She had brothers. One of them was Wilford Hammett. The original Wilford Hammett, her brother before she was even born, he died of electrocution up at the depot when he was there as a paper boy in like the 1916, I think it was, something like that, picking up his newspapers. If you watch my videos, you'll be like, Dewey repeats himself a lot. But this whole area has been cleared back here. And then it's closed down here, but I'll go down to the corner and turn around. But those apartments where they are sitting on that land, St. John's convent was there before those apartments. A nunnery. Any of you remember that? Did you get to see it? I've seen a picture, a single picture I found. Yep. So now these houses that I've covered before, or at least this corner lot I'm seeing, is for sale. So it's interesting how it happens over time that the developers come in here, and I guess some of the houses just didn't sell right away, and so for some reason now they are. This is where Ford used to be, and that is, it's the headquarters for something called APCU. I don't know what that is yet. I can't read it, but it says it up there. But that's where the Ford plant was, and I wonder if the city is, I mean, it's conveniently located, all this construction next to where the city drops like refuse and trees and yard debris and all of that, and it's open here. I'll bet they're getting to use it for construction to, wow, it's just see Union, this is Elm Street. You can see all that's being developed here on Elm Street. It's just no semblance of what it used to look like. Central is up there. And Elm Street used to continue down. there would have been homes here, probably here. I come over to this area the most, I think, because I'm just so fascinated with how quickly it's changing. And I've told you before, even though I didn't grow up here, seeing it change like this makes me sad because I can see what it used to be. But this is for sale. So these will all be gone. The one up there got remodeled, so I think that one's obviously gonna survive. $36.63 is this one. Wow. This little house found itself in such a strange place with all this activity, you know. It used to be on Elm Street. Like, how more idyllic could it be, the name Elm Street in Hapeville? Before the airport came along and ate up the land, this house would have been in such a beautiful little quaint neighborhood. And its street would have continued along this way. They would have had neighbors all around them. And now there's an industrial thing there. There's an electrical plant. There's a dump. There's an airplane. But they would have been among the first to experience the expansion and have to live with listening to the noise and everything. And so here we are in 2025, and this little house made it this far. And now that's it. But I guess that's a pretty long run for a house built in the 40s, early to mid 40s. It just is such a beautiful big corner lot. Oh, and you can see there used to be a wall of some sort here. Maybe this was a garden wall, or maybe a little garage. I love sort of feeling like an archaeologist. Is that what you call it? And looking around and just seeing like little bricks over here and things that meant something at one point. So you can follow this all the way over to here. Oh, maybe this was another home. And it goes, yeah, this could have been the foundation of another home on this corner. That's my guess now, yeah. Wow, I never noticed that before. That's what I like about, yep, and there's a walkway that would have led, or maybe it was a garage or another, belonged to this and was another like rental residence. Who knows? Anybody know? Look how big that tree is and how old. Hello, tree. With a beautiful hollow in it. Oh my goodness. There's a chicken coop back there with a chicken on it. Somebody live here now? Oh shoot. I think somebody lives here now. I thought the house was empty. Oh God, and I'm walking around this person's property. Embarrassing. Wow. So there was another home there, I think. I mean, I gotta tell you, I've explained this before. One of the reasons why Hapeville fascinates me so much is because I never had a home that I lived in for more than 5 years, my whole life, until I moved to Hapeville in 2018. I've lived here for 7 years now, and that's the longest in my 56 years that I've ever lived anywhere. And so I think about some of you who lived here your entire childhoods, and you're part of your adulthood, some of you all of your adulthoods, and I can't imagine, I can't imagine what it feels like to see something that is a part of your heart change so drastically and be able to process it in a healthy way. I mean, that's what I hope for everybody, that they're able to acknowledge that it's painful to see this amount of change to your home, but to be able to find a way to accept it and to be grateful that you had it in the first place. And that's how I relate to this because I never had it in the first place. So now I'm in a place where people had it, and I'm able to observe it and document it and put myself in your shoes in some sort of way. So I imagine, had this been my home and I was walking around as I'm doing now, my goodness, it would be quite a pang in the heart, quite a pang, because you must have memories on every single street corner, every sidewalk, just hundreds of memories of bike rides or conversations with friends or dates with people, you know, a million different possibilities. And so I can relate to it a little bit in that the longest place I ever spent time was during my 23 years that I worked in Orlando for the Walt Disney Company. You know, and I've been gone from there since 2010, and it's changed a lot, but I have a memory in every corner of that property. And so when I see it now, that was like my home. When I see it now and I see changes, it gives me an opportunity to be sad for what's no longer there, but to also realize that it's some young person's home now and is as special. It feels just as special to them now as it did when I was there. And that's how I think you can help process when you see how much Hapeville is changing, when you experience that pang of loss for what it felt like when you were young. You can think about the fact that there are folks living here now. I love this tree. Oh, it just does this. Folks that are living here now that feel close to it, me being one of them. And so I recognize the pain of the change. So there's another Asbury Park sign. It's just a bunch of these all over the south side now, these little U shapes where they're gonna cram in lots of taxpayers. Did y'all hear about the Delta thing? The city right now is losing millions of hotel motel tax because Delta found a legal loophole to where they they rent blocks of hundreds of hotel rooms a year. That would be tax revenue for Hapeville, but they found a loophole on how not to have to pay the tax. So now not only are we not getting that tax, it's causing a little bit of strain between homeowners here in town and their feelings towards Delta. You could see the tower as we talk about it. Basically, from what I understand, the loophole is that there is a clause that says, the intent is for, like, if someone's house burns or a tree falls on their house or whatever, if they have to stay in a Hapeville hotel, they're relieved of paying the hotel motel tax. But I don't know if it's worded in a way that there's another one, 3626, that just has survived over here all on its own. I don't know if it's worded in such a way. It must be worded in a way that allows Delta to do that. But the intent was for folks who were experiencing hardship to be able to rent a hotel room for a time. And it says if it's 30 days or more, you are exempt from paying the hotel motel tax. Well, Delta, they bring in hundreds of thousands of people a year to train them to become pilots and attendants and all that sort of thing. And while they're here, they rent huge blocks of hotel rooms in Hapeville. And so they're able to point to that clause that says, well, it's 30 days or more, so we don't have to pay the hotel motel tax. And it amounts to millions of dollars a year that Hapeville is now not getting. And after the hit that the town took in 2006, when those millions of dollars of tax revenue went away, when Ford Motor Company left town. Now you add this to it. It might be legal, but in my opinion, it's not right. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. There's the back of the church. That's a new view of it through these condos. So that certainly has soured my opinion of corporate Delta in that way, because now who's got to pick up the slack? Homeowners in Hapeville. They're having to pay additional higher homeowner taxes now. But see, these are going up like crazy. Y'all, there's nobody in any of these. None. Maybe they're not ready yet. Maybe they're just not ready yet, but you're seeing a lot of this around town. And maybe it'll change, I don't know. But this is a lot of housing. And this is just one example. This is a lot of housing that has come up in Hapeville, but none of it is affordable. None of it. I couldn't afford it. Starting from the high 400s. I'd say 400 is high. So, wow. This is the property that used to have the Heritage House on it. Covered that a million times. They named that Candler Court for obvious reasons. There used to be a home here and a home there. I saw it in pictures that were taken from the front yard of the home that used to be here. I think it was 3620 South Fulton. And this place remains here, quiet. There's nothing in it now. I hope we don't lose it. It's such a beautiful place here in Hapeville, and for a minute, there was an organization in here that was part of the arts. I forget what their name was. This is 3578 South Fulton Avenue, a beautiful original Hapeville home. It'd be a great resource for artists and studios and things like that. But again, saying that you're a home for the arts and actually investing heavily in that slogan are two different things. What a beautiful day. This is a beautiful original home here in Hapeville. I forget the name of the home. The family, it had the family's name attached to it. I never can remember. And this is where the stone church was originally. And I think there were little small type homes across from it back in the day from pictures and video that I've seen. But here are the stairs, still here. Walked by here many a time in old videos, but my friend Jamie McDonald, who helps me archive these and keep track of these walks, she said, don't worry that you're repeating yourself and walking the same routes over and over. And so I appreciate that encouragement. Yep, so I think this whole area now that we walked, this whole south side that used to be the original development in Hapeville, is now called Asbury Park neighborhood. And I love that it's on the National Historic Register of Historic Places, but hardly any of it is left. When I first moved here, I couldn't understand how we were losing so much of our history when it was a National Register of Historic Places. And I looked that up and found out that there's a difference between historic preservation designation and a historic register. Historic preservation is another level that means we protect this stuff, and it takes a lot of red tape to tear it down or change it. We don't have that. We just went, hey, we acknowledge this is old, but we can still tear it down. And that's where we're at. So it's on the register, but it doesn't save anything. I always love walking by and looking at this angle of the church, as you know. It's a very majestic, beautiful structure. It'll be 100 years old in 4 years. Got the spring sniffles. Just cut through the park here and walk on the track a little to get myself over to Dogwood Drive, formerly Stewart Avenue. Now that the weather is getting nice, I'll be up here in the mornings walking more regularly on this track. This is padded. I went in a few years ago, but look, it's such a beautiful time of year. There's the Hapeville Police. One of our newer cars. Next Saturday is the third annual Hapeville Butterfly Lantern Parade. It's a very successful event here in town. And the parade goes down, starts here in the park, goes down to Virginia Avenue, down to Doug Davis Drive, across and back again. Hundreds of people with glowing butterfly lanterns. The depot. There was where the old Colonial grocery store and Jacobs at 641 Jacobs drugstore, but for the last few decades it was Woodco Transmission. Well, that has been sold, and we see folks in there preparing for whatever's coming next, but we think it's going to be a couple years before whatever is going to go in there goes in there. We've heard rumors that they're going to put a pool in there, some sort of, it's just rumor, but some business that's going to put a pool in there for something. I don't know for what. There's Christ Church. Used to be the residence of Abbey Mann when it was over on the south side of town. It's good to know buses still wait before they cross and honk. It's getting close to rush hour. I think it's 4 o'clock. You know how crazy this intersection gets. It's everyone for themselves. All right, I'm gonna go. This guy's not paying attention and he has blocked the crosswalk. But that is a common thing. Thanks, Best Western Plus. But I'm sure y'all remember this intersection. The most I find when I research this intersection are train accidents, auto accidents over the last 100 years. But this has always been a very busy intersection, especially at this time of day. But back before 75 and 85 were created. Hi. It's my friend Abby and Nate. They live across the street. Old Thomas's restaurant. I met a family member the other day when I was snooping in the windows here. He came over and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just curious about this place." And he said his uncle, who's in his 90s now, is very ill, has not passed away yet, but refuses to sell it. Forget his name. He refuses to sell it, even though he's really old. And so I'll bet it's going to get messy for that family whenever that fella passes away, because this is just such prime property. And developers are constantly knocking on his door, I'm sure. So I would imagine the family members are aware of maybe the gold mine that they're sitting on. I find that interesting. Maybe it's an emotional attachment, or I don't know. I can't imagine being 90 some years old and owning the property but not wanting to sell it. I would wonder what that soap opera's about. Seems like it'd be something you'd want to tie up nicely before you move on, but that's just how I'm imagining it. It's probably much more complicated than I can imagine. We've got these banners in town that say Hapeville, a home for the arts. They're beautiful. They're beautiful banners. And you know, Douglas and I live here and we're artists, so that alone makes it true. It's a home for the arts. We're here. Other artists are here. But I think there's a lot more that we could do to make that slogan more true. Right now it's a home for the townhomes. But as I've said before, I can understand why that's attractive to the city, because we only have 2.5 square miles to shove people in. And especially now with losing the millions of dollars in hotel motel taxes, the hope is people will move into these hundreds of townhomes and apartments that are going up and help pay property taxes, so that our sidewalks can be maintained and such. Chris was here for years at All Pro. He sold not long ago, and now it's Hapeville Radiator Auto and Air. They were over on Central and they've moved over here. Turn right onto Marina and then you could turn left onto Spring Street, but I'm not gonna, because that means I'd have to walk up a steep hill to get home. This has been remodeled recently. It's back to 3 businesses, three distinct storefronts. On the right is Chattahoochee. Arches Brewing has been there since I lived here, but now it's another brewery called Chattahoochee. The owners have another one in Columbus, Georgia. It's right next to this development that I've been showing you a lot. The weather's nice, so maybe they'll make quick progress. They were digging up to connect to the city water system here this week. That's my assumption of what they were doing. I think I passed by here a couple weeks ago, so not much has changed since we were here before. This house is for sale, 3344. And this one still sits here empty. This has been empty since I've been here, since 2018. And then these 2 properties next to the Family Dollar are owned by a woman who grew up in Jasper. She owns these now, and I'm guessing she's sitting on them. I said this before. She's probably going to sell them. And then all of this will probably get parceled together and be more of this. That's my guess. So Hapeville is sort of changing from an actual town to just like a bedroom, a place where people come to sleep and then they leave. And that's my concern, is that, you know, we're getting a lot of people here, or the idea is to get a lot of people here living in townhomes and such, but what we have to offer them as far as amenities and services and leisure time, it doesn't seem to be keeping up. So, and I know I do this, if I need to go somewhere to shop or to eat or to be entertained, I leave Hapeville. I go 7 miles that way. And most everybody I know does the same. So there doesn't seem to be a strong plan of how to entertain and serve the people that we're trying to get in here. So that's why I say it reminds me of a bedroom. We all come here to sleep, but when we leave to go to the kitchen, the refrigerator and the TV and everything that we, the fun stuff, you have to leave Hapeville. There's a few things. I mean, we've got Folk Art Restaurant, which I love, Volare. We've got 2 Thai restaurants. We've got the Academy Theater. There are a few things here, but not enough. Not enough to keep us locals more engaged. I dream of this intersection. I mean, this is a perfect entrance from Atlanta. If we were to focus our energies on getting folks to come down to Hapeville from Atlanta, I mean, anybody that does come to Hapeville goes, oh my God, it's so cute. And it is. It's so windy. You probably haven't heard anything I've said the last 10 minutes. Look how pretty the pink is. Everything that I've said could all still come to fruition. Maybe it just takes longer than I imagined that it would. I mean, I've only been here 7 years, and a lot has changed in 7 years. So, like I said, I've never lived anywhere for as long as I've lived here. So my view could be skewed. It could be wholly uninformed as to how long it takes to turn the reputation, the image, and the offerings of a town around. So maybe it's actually happening and I'm just impatient. Coming up on Jackson Street. I think in the videos that I've made, you've seen this area the most because it's the area that I live in. I haven't gone over to the Northwoods in a while, but it's interesting. The Northwoods doesn't really change much. The big lots, the big ranch houses over there, not a lot changes over in that area. It's beautiful. It's like they got it right the first time, and it's far enough away from the airport and away from the highways and such that no one's really messing with it anymore. It's just this beautiful little gem. If I had to pick anywhere in Hapeville to live, that's my number one choice, the Northwoods area. It'll be interesting when I come around the corner onto Walnut Street in a few minutes, where I live. There's a cat. Don't know the cat's name. Little kind of yellow and white cat with 6 toes. His owner has been gone for weeks, so he comes to my house to get fed and to get some love and attention, which I don't mind giving him, even though he lays on top of my new convertible cloth top and leaves hairballs and lots of hair. I had to feed him, and so now he'll probably be waiting for me on the street or in my yard when I come back. So when I left a couple hours ago, he followed me up to the end of the street, and I was like, go home. Passing 533 on this side, 532 over there. 526 North Avenue. This one's been for sale for about a month. Number 523. I don't know that I'd want to live on North Avenue. It's just a little bit too busy for my liking. Not terrible, but as far as Hapeville roads go, this is one of the busier ones, and people blow through this stop sign all the time. I think they think that it's still open at the end and they're going to get to Kmart. That ended decades ago. Slow down. is all I'm saying. My friend Abby and Nate's house. They just passed by when I was up at North Central. They had to remodel their house the last 5 months because when Hurricane Helene came through, something fell on their roof and they got a leak. And that small little leak wreaked havoc inside their house. Do you remember when they open these up in the springtime? It hasn't happened yet, but soon they'll open it up and we get to flush them out and we get a whole stream down the hill here. It's nice. And then everybody gets on Facebook and says, why is my water yellow? Well, it's because they're flushing and it causes a backup up into your house for a minute. Oh boy, my neighbor's out. All right, let's see if Kitty is out here. Hi, Elsie.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
All right. Beautiful day.
It sure is. I don't know. Nope. Okay, so Kitty's not out here. He lives over there across the street. But he's probably already eaten his food. He sure has. He has. Look at all the junk I have everywhere. Spring cleaning is coming up and we're gonna put it out to the road. All right, well, I don't see him. Well, that is it. Thank you for joining me. That was a long one. Create yourselves a great day and happy spring. Bye.